Okay, so as soon as you come in, 5 in a cell. When the Suhakam Commissioner, James Nayagam came, I told him, in the presence of senior prison officers, I told him, we are given 1 toothbrush, 1 soap, bathing soap, 1 washing soap, and 1 small pack of toothpaste, which has got no brand lah. Apparently it's made in China, and after a few years your teeth will fall off. And I've seen many prisoners, the long-term prisoners, for some reason the teeth, they don't have much teeth. For some reason I can't explain it, you know. And then this sample which I brought today, this toothbrush, this is a prison toothbrush, and then what you do is you're supposed to put it in your finger like this, and then put your toothpaste here, and then you're supposed to brush it like this. Okay, this is the toothbrush. And this one is shared by 5 in a cell. So 5, after you brush, you give it to the next person, 5 persons supposed to share. Okay.
So you can get hepatitis easily.
Yeah, hepatitis, yeah.
But was this the one that you shared?
No, for me, I was more fortunate because when I first went into my cell, I was alone. So they gave me 1. And then I had like, instantly the next day my wife came. Within the next 3-4 days, the weekend she came. And then my staff comes in. So we had a stream of people, which I think 99.99% of the prisoners never got this privilege which I got. The visits alone means a lot to you, you know. Where most prisoners, they don't get visits, you're doomed. Anything can happen to you. Nobody will know, you know. And there's also fear. So like this teacher I told you, he put a tattoo of his wife's name. So the warden asked him, you mana punya gangster? Si tada, warden he call him respectfully, call him cikgu. Tada cikgu, saya bukan gangster, cikgu put 1 slap for that. You don't talk back to me lah. Okay, and then another prisoner, he had fever. He had like blood specimens in his urine. So he told the warden he wants to go to the prison clinic. 1 slap for that. Go and sit down quietly. So in prison, what worries me the most, I could feel a difference compared to ISA detention 7 years ago, and now 7 years down the line. I can feel my health is already, I'm older, 7 years older, health going down. And when I see older prisoners, if you fall ill, you're finished. In prison, you're finished. You're completely at the mercy of the wardens. So if they don't take you to hospital, see, under detention under ISA, it was about 17 months. Completely different scenario. I mean, they did not disturb us. We had like 0 complaints to make while under ISA detention. We were left on our own. We had newspapers. We could watch TV 24 hours a day. We had a hot water kettle. You can make a drink. Weekly family visits, you know, and you get to buy things from the canteen more often, you know, with our lawyers' visits, family visits, and all that. So they basically leave you alone, you know. They do not harass you or in any way cause you indignities. But in Kajang, it's completely a different scenario. Almost every day, almost on a day-to-day basis, prisoners are being persecuted. The dictionary meaning for persecution is bad treatment over a long period of time. While I was not beaten up, you know, not a day did they lay their hands on me, but otherwise they've shouted at me, okay, and caused indignities, caused many forms of indignities because, for example, the first day I go in, they basically shave your head bald. One of the first things they do, they shave your head bald. To me, the Prisons Act says it must be cut short, you know, but not bald per se, okay. And then every morning you have to, they do a roll call which is called master. So one of the most popular, most used word in prison is master. So you have to like sit down in a row of maybe 50, say there are about 500 people. Sit down and you're supposed to squat down. squat on the floor, clench both your knees, and then when the officers come, somebody will shout out a command, and you're supposed to do that now in reverence to the officers. To me, this is maybe Japanese era, if not the British era system of prisons, which has not changed, archaic system. In fact, they made it very clear that, in fact, one superintendent, he actually called me a bloody prisoner for not wishing him good morning. See, I studied law in England. Everybody wishes everybody else good morning, so it's from your heart. Whereas here, they expect you as a matter of, you have to stand firm and say, "Selamat pagi tuan," which I don't do. It must come from your heart. To respect a prison officer, it must come from your heart. But they compel you, and when I did not do it, he called me a bloody prisoner, which I have complained in one of my letters. And especially as an activist, I felt extremely disturbed. I was under a lot of stress. More what happened to the other prisoners who were treated like near slaves. I never knew prison was this bad, because when I went in, I thought it's going to be another ISA prison. This caught me completely off guard. And for writing about 17 complaints there's an official request book, So for writing 17 complaints, mostly about fellow prisoners being beaten up, being shouted at, being ill-treated. So I feel that I've been picked on and punished by being put in the we call it the isolation dark room, The design is a dark room. Of course, the lights will be on, but you switch off the lights, it's completely dark. Back door, you have a steel door, fully concrete. At the back is a steel door. Front also a steel door. Okay, and then you have got a 1.5 feet times 1 feet window, and then with a small opening for the tray, food tray to come in. Okay, like how you cage dogs, that's how you do it, You put it in, and then like during one of my worst experiences was being put in the dark room. I had to sleep on the cement floor, just with one shirt and one pants. The prison color is the orange jumpsuit kind of pants. No pillow, no blanket, no toiletries. You just have to sleep on the cement floor, all on your own. Okay, solitary confinement. So for 14 days, up to 14 days. So what do you do? So here, on the third occasion was like 14 days in a row. First time was 5 days, second time was 8 days, the final one was 14 days. Despite me being an activist, a hardened activist, I felt so helpless. There's nothing I could do. So it's within the cell, it's like 10 feet times 10 feet, and then at the end, one corner, you have got a toilet bowl where you just squat down. There's a small tap, there's a tap, so you have to squat down and use the gayong, the dipper. You take water, and then you put it over yourself, and then with my backbone pain and also my knee pain, I cannot squat for a long time. So you just get 5 dippers. You wet the body, and then you stand up, you apply soap, and then you sit down again, squat down again, and then you. So all this is designed to humiliate you, humiliate the prisoner.
Were you the only one in solitary confinement?
In solitary confinement, I was kept alone.
No, were there other solitary
There were
confinement
others in
cells?
the next cells.
Did they tell you why they were taking you? Which complaint exactly, specifically, made you go into these solitary confinement?
Basically, they say ingkar perintah, which is supposed to be a big offense. So basically, it had to do with my refusing to. See, basically, early morning, the master, I go out. So there's another master at 7 o'clock. The master is a roll call. So 7, and then there's one at 11, one at 2, one at 4. So the one at 11, 2 and 4, I refused to go on. I said, no, I'm a security prisoner, an ex-ISA detainee. I will stay in my cell. So the first 4 months, they left me alone. So subsequently, when I refused to go out, so that's when they started putting me in the dark room as punishment for ingkar perintah, not obeying the orders. No, in the
Not in the
isolation cell.
solitary
Yeah. So
confinement.
otherwise, I was put in with 4 others. Okay, 4 others. But I know of up to in Block D, Block Damai, supposed to be a peaceful place. They put in 10 within a 10 feet by 10 feet cell. They put in 10 of you. So if most of us are above 5 feet. So your legs, let's say your head is like this, and your head, so you'll crisscross like that. 10 packed like sardine. Your shoulder itself is about 2 feet. So you'll actually be knocking against each other, and then that creates tension. Okay, 24 hours a day, packed like sardines. And the law specifically says 1 to a cell with the permission of the Director General is 3. The law is very clear, but they don't follow the law. Full stop. What do you do? Behind the 4 walls, nothing happens. So and then the only time, and you can't move about in the cell because everybody is like sleeping. So you sleep. When they give you food, you lean against the wall, you eat, and then you lie back. You have nothing else to do. What do you do? So the only break from the monotony is the food lah. They
And how's the food?
The food is like basically very basic food. Let's say rice, you get like about half portion nasi separuh, okay. And then I've never heard of this lah. They said soup masak air lah. I never knew what soup masak air was. When I asked what is soup masak air, we have heard of tom yum soup, chicken soup, and whatever soup lah. Soup masak air is just salt water and salt in water lah. That is soup masak air. And then on a bad day, I had 2 slices of carrots, 2 small pieces of carrot on a bad day. But normally I get maybe about 7, 8, 10 pieces. On a bad day, 2 pieces of carrot, soup masak air, and 1 piece of fried fish. Full stop. And then like fried chicken, for some reason it's a luxury in prison. You don't get to eat fried chicken. It comes in the soup. So about 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, it is some soup lah. It's either tom yum soup or soup masak air or chicken soup, and then like oil, outside when we see oil, our mind rejects oil, but there the prisoners will get, ada minyak lah, ada minyak. They're excited to see some oil floating on the soup. It's supposed to be tasty, and they look forward to some oil lah. And most prisoners have got dry skin. I was told because the oil content, I don't know, for some reason they don't no oil lah. So people get excited, when they see a bit of oil, causes excitement. And then water, you ask for warm drinking water. If you're lucky, you get it once a day. So my basic, we're asking for basic rights. Why can't I have a cup of warm water in the afternoon for lunch and 1 more for dinner? Why can't I? No, cannot. Only once a day. So it's a form of torture, another form of torture. And then like when it comes to food, morning, like we have I think 3 days in a week you have just rice porridge lah, okay. And rice porridge, I think you may have covered this story already. The infamous 6-in-1 gayung lah. Gayung is a dipper. So you, after your long call, you wash yourself. Some prisoners get caned. There's a wound on their buttocks. They wash their wound in that same dipper. They soak the underwear in the same dipper. I've seen prisoners vomiting when they're not well. They vomit in that dipper. Okay, and then I think there's one more point, and they even like finally your kanji, you even eat in that dipper. And then like one point they were short of trays. There's some problems with the trays, so they give you rice in the dipper. Okay, so like one instance when it comes to food, there was a secondary school teacher lah, who some boys disturbed his daughter, sent a nasty message to the daughter. So father overreacted, so there was a punch up, so he was in for about 7-8 months, private school in Mont Kiara. He came in, okay. He told me that when they say 10 in a cell, so they just put food, put rice, and then they pour the soup, put some vegetable, and put your fish lah in one. So 5. So for each cell, two dippers lah. Okay. So everybody will just be going. So somebody with full of wounds in his hands, he puts in. Somebody who did not wash his hands also puts his hand in the dipper, and you eat or you go hungry.